Okay, so before we get started, I want to let y'all know that this will be recorded, and if y'all could please give me your verbal consent to record this session.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying my name is Chidela Warden, and I work, as you know, for Blake Psychology with Point Claire. I was sent a referral from you all, or from your psychiatrist rather, and so we'll start, just by getting to know each other, and I'll introduce myself, y'all introduce you yourself, and then we'll get started. I like to allow my clients to all be very comfortable. Would y'all like some water before we get started?
Okay.
Okay. So I am a social worker, and I know it sounds weird because most of the time when you have therapy, you see a therapist. But I am a social worker, and basically what we'll do is the same thing as therapy. We'll talk, anything that y'all want to get off y'all's chest, you just let me know. Anything that's bothering you, the issues that you all have been having, but even the good, y'all can tell me about the good too. And we'll kind of come up with goals and, reasons of how we can better, get y'all's issues together. So let's start with you, Mom. What's your name? And then kind of tell me why you're here, and then we'll go to your daughter.
So I'm Diane Smith, and I'm here because apparently my decisions are affecting her in some kind of way, and we haven't been able to have a legit discussion as far as how and why and what's been going on with her. So we decided to go ahead and do therapy just to kind of get some things out in the open respectfully, and hopefully get some resolve.
Okay, what about you?
I'm Jasmine Smith, and this is my mom, and we just decided we needed therapy because I just don't feel like I really have anybody I can talk to right now.
Okay, so if I can ask, how old are you?
19.
And how old are you, Miss Smith?
44.
Is it Mrs. Smith or Miss? Are you married?
I'm recently divorced.
Okay. How recent?
6 months ago. Was
Okay.
the final divorce papers.
Okay, 6 months ago. Do you work, Jasmine?
Yes, at Publix.
Okay, and what about you, Mom?
Yes, I'm a property manager.
Okay. Do you all like your jobs?
I love my job.
It's okay.
Okay. How long have you been working at Publix for?
About a year or so.
And how long have you been a property manager for?
About 6 years.
Okay. Okay, well, do you feel that besides family issues, you all have any other situations that are feeding into this?
It's just mainly family stuff for me.
Okay. Well, I know that this is gonna be like super redundant, but I love to get the whole paperwork situation out of the way first, and then we can kind of have more conversational settings and sessions. Okay.
Okay.
So for the both of you, and we'll start with you, Mom. Do you have any psychiatric or mental problems?
I was diagnosed with depression, and a little bit of anxiety.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
I've had it since I was a kid, so I've always had it.
And what about you, Justin?
Depression and anxiety as well.
Okay. That can be kind of hard with both of you dealing with that. Would you say so? Okay. Do you all have any medical or physical problems, Mom?
Not overall.
Okay. What about you? Okay. Well, that's great. That's a positive.
Yeah.
You're only dealing with one thing at a time. Mom, do you take any medications for your depression and anxiety?
Right now, I don't. I try to just cope and use my coping skills, and I have go to my therapy and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, coping skills are great. That's something great to have. What about you?
Birth control and a Xanax.
Okay. How often do you take your Xanax?
Once a day.
Okay. Do you know the milligrams, 0.5?
Yeah, 0.5.
Okay. Well, that's pretty low. So, do you feel it's working?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, great. You sure? Mom, you don't think it's working?
No, because sometimes she be having these little outbursts, and then she has her little mood swings.
Is it physical outbursts or verbal outbursts?
I know it can be very verbal outbursts.
Okay. Well, we can kind of get into that. Have either of you ever been hospitalized?
No.
Okay. Well, that's great. Have you received family counseling before? Okay. That's great. Okay, so Mom, do you have any current, I like to say personal habits, so smoking, gambling, drinking, drug use, caffeine intake, exercise, eating, sleeping, or fun and relaxation?
So I exercise regularly.
Okay.
I smoke a little bit every once in a while, but I don't do it around her. It's the first time her hearing about it.
Okay.
And then like relaxation, like I would typically kind of zone out with Netflix or something like that, or take a short little trip.
Okay, and what about you?
Smoke weed.
Okay. Did your mom know about that?
She does now.
Okay. So it seems like a little bit of secrets here. I would like for everybody to remain open, during this session. We're not here to really judge or, yell or get upset. I know things will seem, a bit overwhelming at first, but we can talk through it. Do you all have any economic problems, cultural issues? It seems to be some family conflict, but anything outside of that?
Financially and everything, I feel like we're pretty secure. Like, we don't have to worry about nothing. I don't even know why she acting like this.
Okay. All right. So, how would you say, how close are you and your daughter?
I would think that we're pretty close, but now that I'm hearing that she's smoking weed,
So, from 1 to 5, with 5 being close and 1 being distant, what would you say?
I mean, right now I'm gonna have to give it a 3.5.
What about you?
It's about a 2.
Okay, so in between a 2 and a 3. Do you get along with other family members?
I mean, I speak to my cousins and I talk to pretty much everyone overall.
Do you still talk to your ex-husband?
Off and on when it has to deal with the kids.
Okay.
Extended family like grandma, auntie, uncle, stuff like that. But immediate, besides my mom, that's about it.
Okay. What are some household rules that you have?
So she does have a curfew.
Okay. What is that?
So if it's during the week, she does have to be home at 11. She is 19, so I give her at least 11, especially if she's gonna be working. And if it's on the weekend, she has to be home by 12:30, 1 o'clock max. But she also has to call and let me know.
Okay.
So there has to be communication with that. As far as bills and responsibilities, she doesn't have to pay bills or anything like that because she is going to be working and going to school. So she is in the nursing program right now. But outside of that, I treat her like she is a young adult.
Okay. Great. What's your expectations from today, both of you?
I would just like to be heard, and I would like just for understanding, so she knows where I'm coming from and why I act the way I act.
That's totally understandable. What about you?
I mean, the same thing, just as long as that we have an understanding, and I would like to hopefully get some clarification as to why she does what she does and feels how she feels.
Okay. Well, we can definitely do that today. Have you already tried to address these issues that we'll be discussing today, or is this your first time?
We've tried to talk about it, but when we talk about it, amongst between us in the house, it just don't come up with anything, and we always end up getting frustrated, and then the conflict doesn't resolve itself.
Okay. Whose idea was it to come to therapy today?
My daughters.
Okay. So, I like to say, what was the final straw where you were like, we have to go to therapy? What situation was it? What happened?
I left the house. I ain't come back till 4 o'clock in the morning.
What time did you leave?
Probably 7 that evening.
What made you leave?
We were having one of our talks and it didn't go well, and so I just left because I just needed some air.
Okay. Well, we can definitely get further into that. And we'll talk about, some family strengths and, all that. So now that we have all the paperwork filled out, we can kind of get more into conversation. So, Mom, you said that you were divorced 6 months now. And so what prompted that divorce?
Well, we weren't happy with each other anymore.
How long have y'all been married?
We have been married for about almost 13 years at that time. And we got married when we were young. And it was just time for a change. He worked a lot, and I worked a little bit longer hours in between working and with the kids. It's like, and you enjoy working when you spend time with me, and vice versa with the family. And I was like, this isn't working anymore. So we ended up just getting divorced, and we divorced amicably overall.
Gotcha. What does he do for work, or what did he do for work?
Yeah, he's a music producer.
Okay. And then, for you, how do you feel?
About their whole split up divorce situation. Not great, because to me I just feel like they gave up and they could have came to a better conclusion on handling things. And then it's also just kind of the aftermath of what happened once they got a divorce that made it even worse.
Well, let's talk about that. What happened?
So he ended up getting a divorce, and like he's moved on and lives with this lady and her kids and stuff, and we don't even really have any communication anymore. So I kind of feel abandoned from him. And then she's moved on as well, and so she's moved on with like the same sex, and I'm not used to seeing my mom like that. So it's just been a lot of change in a short amount of time, and I feel like I don't really have anybody I can go to as far as like a guardian parent.
Gotcha. So, Mom, have you always been bisexual? Is that how you would classify yourself?
I've always, yes.
Okay.
I would definitely say that, high school and college, I definitely was on both sides, and I met this one man that I thought, I was in love with, and we had babies together, and now that I'm single, it was time to kind of get out and ready to mingle.
Okay.
But I didn't know that it was going to be that big of an issue, because I guess I'm an adult. You're an adult, so.
Well, did you kind of talk with Jasmine about, dating same sex? Like, did you have a conversation prior?
She did not.
Okay.
She did not.
Because you're an adult.
And that's understandable,
And so-
but I'm still a child in the situation.
But
And when I've never seen my mom with nothing but my dad, it's just, it's a lot to process.
But have you ever come to ask me questions or anything about it and show concern?
No, because I didn't never know that you like women, so I never thought to ask that question until the whole divorce situation. And next thing you know, here come Mary.
Well, how am I supposed to marry? Oh, okay, she know about marrying. Well, okay, marry.
So it seems like watching y'all's dynamic, I can kind of tell where there's miscommunication. So and tell me if what I'm hearing is correct. Mom, I'm hearing from you that you felt Jasmine should have came to you, with any questions that she may have had, and you felt that she was, mature enough to handle the situation. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Excuse me. Jasmine, it appears that you felt Mom should have sat down and had a conversation with you prior. Is her name Mary?
We can call her Mary for this station.
Okay, so bringing Mary into the situation, you felt she should have talked to you about it, and y'all could have had a communication and better understanding about a new transition.
Right.
Okay, so Mom, if I can ask, why didn't you communicate with Jasmine that you would be bringing someone else in?
I just want to know how she even found out about.
Well, we'll get to that, but
Because to be honest, I thought that I was kind of keeping it a hush hush until I found someone I was going to be serious with. Like, I wasn't necessarily trying to like constantly have someone around my daughter like that, even though we live in the same household. And so I'm just very curious about that. But I just didn't feel like there was a need to have a conversation just yet until I found someone that was worthy of having a conversation about.
Gotcha. Well, Jasmine, how did you find out?
One day Mary was over and she thought that I was asleep, and I saw her leave. So then I kind of started putting it together, and she just be on the phone laughing and all this kind of stuff. And so,
Well, what made Mary leaving different from like Mom's other friends?
cause her other friends, she either go get drinks with them or something, then she comes home, or they'll do like girls' night, but like they'll be in the living room, so I will hear them, see them, say hey, da da da. But this one was like, it was just a lady that left the house at like 2 a.m.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't like they were in the living room for me to like have met her. Like it was just one of her regular friends.
Gotcha. So it sounds like you just seem a little disappointed and disrespected. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So,
In my house, where
Mom,
I pay bills.
I know
Okay.
that we, have a mom complex of, this is my house, I'm an adult, I can kind of do what I want. But in a sense, do you kind of understand where your daughter is coming from, being that you did just kind of get divorced and this is something that's brand new? I totally get, you never intended on her even finding out, and that's commendable. But do you kind of understand where she's coming from now that she's said it out loud?
I understand where she's coming from. I absolutely do, but I still don't feel like, I still feel like you should have been like, "Hey, Mom, who was that coming out the house last night?" Instead of having a whole fit about it and exiling yourself in your room and then having like these mild outbursts about nothing that has to do anything with the situation.
Because normally we have open communication and we talk about stuff, and that was something that was never brought up. So normally she have girl night, like she'd be like, "Oh, so and so finna come over," and I'm like, "Okay," but
Because she's supposed to be asleep, ma'am.
But that situation was just like, what you hiding?
So when it pertains to Mary or anyone else, let's set some goals when it pertains to this. So what are some goals you feel we can do where either she's not meeting the people that you are dating or you introducing them to her?
I'm just not going to introduce you to everybody that comes that I'm talking to. It's just not going to be a thing because.
And I understand that because I mean, if it's not going to be somebody long term, it's no need for me to meet them.
Exactly.
My only thing is just let me know, like, hey, somebody coming over.
How would you be sleeping? I don't have to worry about it.
But if I'm up watching Netflix or something and
See,
then I
you're
hear
the first
somebody's car outside and it's somebody walking out from my house, I'm gonna question it.
Okay,
So-
so what I can do
ahead.
is just let you know, hey, someone's coming over.
Right, you
And
just
be
say like a
mindful of the
guest and
general
that's it.
area.
Right, that's it.
Okay, that seems like a reasonable goal.
Right.
So for the next week or two, what we'll do is if you have a guest over, you can even send a text if it's you might, slip your mind, you may forget. Just say, hey, I'm coming over, will you please stay in your room? We can do something like that. Are you in agreement to that? Will you compromise with that?
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Okay. And then are you in agreement that you will not purposely, come out of your room or whatever to see who this person is?
I can agree to that. I'll get my snacks and stay in my room.
Or even, do you have friends?
I mean, I do. So if it's a day that she knows somebody gonna come over, then I can go spend the night, or she can have the house herself.
Yeah, can we agree to that,
or
Mom? Is she
something.
allowed to go
Yeah,
spend the
she's
night?
absolutely allowed to go spend the night.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's do